Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which is basically the tag where we reflect on all the books we read during the first 6 months of the year. I think I am in a good soft spot of being exactly in the mid-year, and so far this year I read a total of 37 books, and my most popular genres were romance and contemporary. So let's start by answering the questions instead. So I wrote the questions down here, and I really tried putting different books as the answers for different questions, but some books they will just be showing up a lot because they made a mark on me this year. So let's start by the first question, which is the best book you've read so far this year. So this is a question where there was one book that came to my mind instantly, and it is a book that really marked the year for me, which is also the first book I read this year, which is, where is it? Oh, it is under the pile next to me. Don't fall. It's pile falling. My pile is falling. Let's keep it here so it doesn't fall. It is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevin. I thought about it first in my reading books because of their covers book, but also there was my January to I think March wrap up where I talked also a lot about this book, about how in love I am with this book, how in love I am with the writing. I want to read everything Gabriel Zevin ever wrote and rewrite. I want to find a time and just pick up more of her books because I'm really in love with the writing in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Also the story, the characters, there were just some aspects about the book that I really connected with, and I just think this book is incredible. It is a 6-star read for me. It is a book I still think about constantly, and look at the cover, it is incredible. And basically Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, it follows 3 friends. Mainly there is these 2 friends. They were childhood friends. They met at a hospital, and their friendship was born out of their mutual love for video games. And then many years later they bump into each other in the subway, and they reconnect, and they decide to start building video games together, and the story goes on from there. And this book, I just really loved it. I think it is really beautiful, and it is a book that I really connected with, and I still think about it. So it is definitely the best book I read in 2024 so far. I'm going to put 2 special mentions because they were also 2 contenders for this category, but Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow overall it's just one, because out of every single book I read this year, it was just a book I resonated with the most. But 2 other books I think are nominated for this category are Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I read this book after owning this book for many years and wanting to read this book for many years, and just kind of putting it off because I was intimidated. But this is another book that was a 5-star for me and that I really fell in love with. So this is nominated to this category. And another book that was nominated, it is The Words That Remain by Samuel Cardell. This is a story of another man. He's illiterate, but he has this letter that he had for a very long time, and he decides to go on a journey to learn how to read and write so he can finally read this letter. Now let's move on to the second question in stack, which is the best sequel you've read so far in this year, in 2024. And I read a lot of sequels this year, and I was thinking which one was the best. And without a shadow of a doubt, it is The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. This is the second book in the Vancouver Storms series. The first book in the series is Behind the Net, and then the second book is The Fake Out. This is a series of interconnected standalone romance novels, and it is a fluffy, rocky romance. And I wasn't expecting to like this book as much as I did when I read it, but to this day I still think about it. I think about the characters. I remember how fun this book was. It is definitely one of the most fun books I read this year, and I gave it 4 stars, but every time I think about it, I think I might have given it 5 stars because the vibes, the characters, this book, it was just so fun. I was giggling the whole time I read it. I think I read it in a span of 24 hours because it was just that good. Now let's go to the third question in stack, which is new releases you haven't read yet, but you want to. So for this one, we are keeping just books that have already been released. The first one, it is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is a book I don't own, but I want to read because I heard people saying the male main character in that novel, he's very Nick Miller coded, and I'm curious, how Nick Miller coded is he? The second book I put in this as an answer for this question is one I already own. Where is it? Here. It is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood is just an author. I think she's really funny. And Bride, apparently, it is also really funny. It is also her first take on a paranormal romance, and it follows a vampire and a werewolf, and they are sent to get married. It is a marriage of convenience trope because apparently there is a war about to break out between the vampires and the werewolves, and it is Ali Hazelwood, so I have a feeling I will have a really fun time and I will be giggling a lot while reading this book. And the third book I put forth as an answer to this question is The Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I think this follows a group of 3 or 4 sisters, and this book is already out, and technically I already bought it, but it still haven't arrived to my pre-order. But as soon as it arrives, I think I might just read it because I'm very curious, and people on the internet that I know has similar book tastes as me seem to really enjoy that one. Now let's go to the next question, which is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I put 2 books in this question as an answer for this question. The first one is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is a book that apparently will follow 2 brothers. One it is a lawyer and the other is a chess player, and these brothers, they don't necessarily get along, but they are dealing with some sort of grief. And after Beautiful Rhoda Isle, I really want to read this one because I actually liked every single Sally Rooney book. I think I read, except that short story of hers that was published, I read all the other books she published, and I really enjoyed them. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm so excited that I never pre-order books, but Intermezzo, it's one that I pre-ordered the moment the pre-order was available because I'm really curious about this one. I really want to read it. And then I put a second book as an answer to this question, and this is one where I'm kind of curious, I want to read it, but at the same time I am apprehensive about, and it is Fall With Me by Becca Mack. This is the 4th and final, I think, not sure if it is final, maybe it is the final book, but it is the 4th book in the Playing for Keeps series, which is a series of interconnected standalone hockey romance, and these books, they are very much a fluffy rom-com, and I want to read it and I'm curious about it because I really like the first 2 books in the series, which are Consider Me and Play With Me, but then the third book, which is Unravel Me, I really didn't like it, and it almost ruined the whole series for me. So I'm curious because will I enjoy it? Will I think we will have as much fun with this one as I had reading Consider Me and Play With Me, or will I hate it like I do Unravel Me? So this is also a book that is coming sooner. Intermezzo, it is coming out in September, and Fall With Me, I think it is the end of July, early August. Next question is biggest disappointment, and without shadow of a doubt, it is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. This is a book I wanted to read for many years, ever since, I don't remember the exact year, but basically there's a whole story around this book where I was supposed to read it for college, but then the professor decided to change, but I was always very curious, and I tried reading this book at the beginning of the year, but ended up taking me 3 months to get through it because I just thought it was so boring, and I go into more detail on my May wrap-up if you want to really listen to me talking about why I really didn't like this book. But overall, I thought I would at least enjoy On the Road, but in the end I ended up giving On the Road 1 star, and I rarely give 1 star to books. So it was a really big disappointment. I really didn't enjoy this book. Let's move on to the next question, which is biggest surprise, and it is The Words That Remain by Senor Gardel. This is a book that when I read the blurb and considering who recommended this book to me, I had a feeling I would enjoy this book. But then when I started reading this book wasn't what I was expecting, and the writing is just so beautiful, and this is generally one of the books with the most beautiful writing I ever read, and I was completely in love with the story, with the writing style, and this book was also a 5-star, and I was expecting it to be a 4-star, but not a 5-star. So it was a really good surprise, this one. Now let's move on to the next question, which is favorite new authors, debut or new for you? So I don't necessarily have a favorite new authors because out of the authors I read in repeat, they were new for me, and the other authors, new authors that I read this year, most of them I read only one book, so can I really say they are my favorite authors if I read only one book? For this question, I decided to put 2 different authors. The first one is Lee Bardugo. I first read the Shadow and Bone trilogy, the first book, which is Shadow and Bone, I read right at the end of 2023. It was actually the last book I read in 2023. And then this year I read the 2 other books in the series, which is Siege and Storm and Bring and Rising. They are right behind me, that's why I looked back. And I really enjoyed those books. I really enjoyed this series, so that's why I put her in this category. And also I do want to read more books by her. I already bought the Six of Crows duology. I also already bought the King of Scars duology, which I plan on reading. And then I also maybe I'm thinking about reading Ninth House and the Hellbent, which is also another duology. And then she just released The Familiar, which is a book I'm very intrigued about, so that's why I'm putting her in this category. Another one that I will put, it is Gabrielle Zevin from Tomorrow and Tomorrow, just because I love this book so much that I think I need to read more, and maybe she will become a favorite author, or maybe she already is a favorite author. How can we tell someone is their favorite author? Let's move on to the next question, which is new fictional crush. So I don't think any fictional man will ever top Charlie Lastra for me, just because I think in real life Charlie Lastra would be the ideal crush for me. It's just the ideal character for me. But when it comes to new fictional crushes that I like in the books, we had some contenders, but the winner, without a shadow of a doubt, it is Rory Miller from The Fake Out. I just really like that book. It is just so funny, and Rory plays a massive part in making that book being so good. I really like him as a character. I like him as a romantic hero. I just really like The Fake Out. That book, it is just so fun. And the more I talk about it, I think I need to change my Goodreads rating of this book to 5-star, because this book, it really just made a mark on me, because it was just so much fun. It's been months since I read that book, and I still, every time I think about it, I want to giggle, just remembering how much fun I had reading that book. Other contenders for this category, we have Jack Stapleton from The Bodyguard. He's not perfect, but just the vibes of this book, he's funny, and I like that. We also have Ivan Lukov from Lukov with Love, mainly because he has a lot of pets, including a pet pig, and I like just the idea of pets. Taking care of the pets, it's another story. But the idea that it has a lot of pets, it's interesting. Also, can we put Ravi from the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series? Technically, I read the first book last year, but right now, as I'm filming this video, I'm currently reading As Good as Dead and Ravi, we like Ravi. Now let's move on to the next question, which is newest favorite character. So, again, I put two characters in this answer, and one of them is a repeat. I'll let you guess which one it is. But first we have Nikolai from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. This wasn't a surprise because when I watched the TV series, I really liked Nikolai. I was very intrigued by him and what made Nikolai. And the second one, guess who it is? If not Rory Miller from The Fake Out. Again, he's just so funny, and The Fake Out, I really like The Fake Out. I like all the characters in The Fake Out, but Rory, I love Rory. Now let's move on to the next question, which is a book that made you cry. So, I don't usually cry while reading books or movies, unless it is Toy Story 3. I don't really cry, but the closest that I came to crying, and I came really close, which it's saying something, it is very rare for me, it was with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow from Gabriel Zevin. There is something that happens around the 75% mark of this book. If you read it, you know it is really sad, and I almost cry reading that little passage. Now let's move on to the next question, which is a book that made you happy. I put 3 books in this answer. The first one, you can guess which one it is. It was The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. Every time, I won't smile every time I talk about this book because it is I just had such a cool time reading it, and I have such vivid memories of this book, which not as surprising because my memory, it is kind of good. I kind of have a good memory and I remember plots quite well, but The Fake Out, I have a very vivid memory and I just remember having a lot of fun, and I really like this book. The second book that I added to this list, surprisingly, the next 2 books, the covers are in a color I don't necessarily like, but I like the inside of the book. First we have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Again, Ali Hazelwood, I just find her to be really funny, and this is a rom-com that I had a lot of fun, and it made me happy just how much fun I read reading this book. And the next book, the third and final book I put for this as an answer to this question, was The Bodyguard by Catherine Sandler. Again, this is a fluffy rom-com and it is just so cute and fun, and I love these characters. I love Hannah and Jack. This book was so much fun. It's one of those books where you read and you are giggling all the time, and it is heartwarming. The characters, they are just so cute, the main characters and the side characters, and this book just made me happy, the experience of reading it. We only have 2 questions left, so next question it is most beautiful book you bought this year. So I have 2 books for this answer and they are here, and curiously enough, they are 2 books that they are translated to Portuguese. They are Brazilian books. The first one, it's called Cartas de Jane Austen, and this is a compilation of all of the known Jane Austen letters. And look at this book. If you think this cover is pretty, well, let me show you the yellow sprayed edges, and you think that's pretty. Let's go inside. This book, it is just like, it is really pretty. There is colorful illustrations, colorful text, and this book is just, it's definitely one of the prettiest books I ever bought, and definitely one of the prettiest books I bought this year. And next book, it is actually 6 books. It is a box set. If you watch my book hauls, you might have already seen it, but it is this special edition of Dune. Dune is a book series I've been wanting to read for quite some time, and when I saw this box set, I needed to get it because look at this. so pretty and colorful and happy, at least happy looking. I don't think Dune is a happy book, but let me try and pick one of the books out of the box set. This is the first book. This is the cover of the first book. Tell me this cover isn't beautiful. Tell me this cover isn't prettier than the original Dune covers. This is definitely one of the prettiest books I bought this year, together with Cartas to Jane Austen or Letters to Jane Austen. This cover, it's so pretty, and then when you put the box set on your bookshelf, it looks so incredible. Now let's go to the final question, which is the one where are all the books that are next to me. So the final question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Need to read? I don't actually need to read any book by the end of the year, at least right now. But I put 5 books I really want to read by the end of the year. First one on the pile, it is, how to not show you the cover? Don't directly go there. We have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is a book I've been wanting to read since it came out last year, and for some reason I keep putting it off, and I just want to get to it by until the end of the year. Next we have It Starts With Us by Colin Hoover. I read It Ends With Us last year and it was okay, and I decided let's just finish the duology since it is a duology and it was okay, and I think this will be just some kind of rom-com. So I got It Starts With Us, saying I would read soon, and then it's been a year and I still haven't read, and I just want to get this book out of my TBR, to be honest, because let's finish the duology, let's finish a series. Next we have, in the vibe of finishing series, As Good As Dead by Holly Black. This is the third and final book in this Good Girls Guide to Murders series. So As Good As Dead, also Killjoy, which is a novella. I just want to finish the series because it is a really good series. It is a series I have fun reading it, and I just want to wrap up this series, this chapter. And then the other two, we are going to start a new series with these other two. First we have ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I bought this book last year, at the end of last year, and I was really sure I was going to read it soon. It's now June and I still haven't picked it up. And then the final book, it is one I want to pick up. I want to read it very, very soon, because every time I look at it, I just want to read it. It is Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. This is from the Six of Crows duology, also in the Grishaverse. I don't know why I still haven't read this one, so I want to read this one very, very soon. And this is it for the mid-year freakout deck. So what are your answers for these questions? Please let me know in the comment section. And if you read any of the books mentioned in this video, let's talk about it in the comment sections. Let me know your opinions in the comment section. And if you like this video, please consider leaving a like. And if you want to watch more books, pop culture, fashion videos from me, consider subscribing to the channel. And I hope to see you very, very soon with another video. And yeah, bye!